A lot of my riders ask me, why do I work Uber instead of the local bases? So today I'm going to do a video on the pros and cons that I worked out myself and why I decided to ditch the local base and go with Uber.
Driver again, me.
With Uber being cashless, that was a massive benefit to me because every day when I would work for the local base, I'd have to go out with £30 of change in my pocket. It would be two £5 notes and £20 coins. Then you'd always get that one person that'd get in the car and you've done like a £4 trip and they'd hand you a £20 note. And you're like, seriously, you're not getting any smaller, mate? No, that's all I've got. Or that little old woman that goes, it's okay, love. I needed change for me grandkids' pocket money anyway. Yeah, well, I needed change too. But with Uber, you don't get that. Cashless, brilliant. You don't even have to worry when you get that little scally in the back of the car. You know, whether he's going to pull a knife out on you and go, give me all your money. Because you got no money. You got no cash on you. Having to watch each week for the settle amount. So most of the local bases have a settle amount. One in particular, not mentioning no names, that you'd have to pay them £125 a week. Or it's commission based capped at 25%. That means that you would have to earn over £500 in that one particular week before you started benefiting from the cap. But then some local bases also charge the cap plus an addition per ride complete. So, for example, 10 pence. That doesn't sound like a lot, right? But that could easily soon add up to £6 to £10 a week, depending on how many jobs you do. What I'd find as well is things like tips and on card payments and tunnel fees or parking charges at the airport would also be part of that 25%. So although the driver gets nothing from that, they would still have to pay the 25% commission on the parking charge. I'd phoned up multiple times on this particular local company, but they would always say they're looking into it. The system doesn't allow it yet. Meanwhile, I'm losing a quid on a £5 parking charge. And it really started to grate on me that. I know it's only 25%, but it's my 25%. Whereas with Uber, when you get any type of fee, parking fee or toll for bridges or tunnels, it's clearly showing in your statement that it's refunded to you by Uber. Not only that, you don't have to work that out when you see the on-screen display of how much the fares cost. When Uber shows you the price, that's the price you're going to get in your pocket. When the local firm showed you the price, if they did a fixed fare, then you would have to deduct that from the amount you're looking at. For example, if it was 25 quid to Liverpool Airport, you'd see 25 quid on your screen, but then a five of that you'd have to take off. So you're only left with 20 quid. Then 25% of that, isn't it? Both ways. So you're left with 15 quid. Then they're little glitch and you'd lose another quid. You'd have to do all that working out as quick as you can. So the fare's not really what you're looking at, is it? And again, with Uber, once you got a tip, not only would you get this nice little display that says, congratulations, you have a tip of X amount. You get it 100% into the wallet. You then have a chance to go back into that trip and thank the customer for the tip. Why not? This is the part where the local base can win. It's hurt me throat saying that.
And action.
This is a part where the local base definitely gets the upper hand. Where you're dealing in cash more with the local base, generally people will round it up. They'll say, go ahead, take that. Take the 6, take the 7, and you will get more cash tips. I found very weirdly that the type of customer you get on Uber is completely different to the type of customers you get with the local base. Now, As I was browsing Facebook the other day, I come across a comment that just made me howl with laughter and thought, you know what, mate, you're dead on. So I asked him, is it okay if I use his comment in this video? And he said I could. So I'm just going to read you it, right? Usually, I'll also put it here for you. Usually work with Uber, but give local base a go today. And the main difference is local base customers stink. My poor car smells of weed, ale, BO, and damp dog. I was nearly spat coffee out at my desk, and I was like, "He's dead on. He's spot on. That's true." Now, it's not really something I'd picked up on before, but he's dead right. The type of customer you get on Uber is completely different, which brings you on to the rating system. You know, if you're in a dodgy area of a night and a job pops up on Uber and the customer's got a rating of 2.5, 3 stars, you know there's been issues with other drivers and that customer. So you let that one go. Local bases don't have that feature. They won't let you rate customers or see what they are. With local bases, you have no idea who you're picking up. What I found as well with the customer rating is the customers that are aware they're being rated, it can easily be used to de-escalate a situation. I just make a running joke and I'll say, well, you're tanking your rating, aren't you, speaking to me like that? They're like, oh, no, 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 I was only joking. Or if the mate's being a divvy, you'll say to them, sort your mate out or the tanking your rating. Oh, and then they'll do it for you without you having to do it. Also, a little story for you is I once had a parked up to pick a woman up and she left a bag by me boot and gets in the car. And I thought, she's left a bag there. And then I went to her, don't you want that? And she went, want what? And I went, your suitcase. And she went, you're meant to put it in the car. I went, no, I'm not. Then I looked at her rating. I hadn't looked at it prior to it during the day, and her rating was 2.1. So she storms out the car and puts it in the boot and slams my boot and gets back in. And she's proper speaking down to me. So I said to her, I went, oh, I see why your rating is bad with Uber. And she went, I beg your pardon. And I went, yeah. And she went, the driver's rating me. And I was like, yeah. And your rating's terrible. I shouldn't have picked it up, really. All of a sudden, she was as nice as pie. So fake, some people. Uber has a system where it charges the customer for a failed pickup. So local bases, when you'd turn up outside their house and they wouldn't come out or outside the club or wherever it was, and they didn't come, you'd just have to end the job after so many minutes and you'd get absolutely nothing. It would be a complete waste of your time. At least with Uber, with a no-show, that's what's called a no-show, you get a bit of money, £3.75, I think the last one was I got. You'd also not get runners on Uber because it's cashless. They've already paid. Your contract's directly with Uber, so you're going to get paid anyway. Even if for some random reason someone did jump out the car and run away, you're still getting paid for that job. Or if you end a job because of the customer's behavior, you still get paid that full amount. Local bases, you've got absolutely no chance. If they run away, it comes out of your pocket. If there's nobody there when you get there, tough, move on to the next job. Don't think any driver likes multiple stop trips, but at least with Uber, it displays clearly on the screen first. Also, a lot of local bases doesn't tell you the destination of where they're going, where it's just people phoning up and speaking to the operator, and they're too bone idle to put in the destination of where they're going. At least with Uber, you know exactly where it's going. You know how many stops it is. Dun, 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 the dreaded dynamic pricing system. Now, I know this is really controversial to talk about, but it needs to be said. Now, Uber work on the dynamic pricing system. It gets slated left, right, and centre from the drivers. But here's how I've seen it work. I've seen when it's quiet, Uber's prices drop to compete with local bases to make sure that your wheels are turning and not theirs. Whereas local bases have set charges regardless. If you ever had the customer get in the car and go, oh, it's dead cheap, this. Now, regardless of what the customer's paying, that doesn't mean you're getting less. I've once picked up a little old lady from a little. She was like, I've been waiting ages for this. And I was like, oh, have you? Oh, well, I'm here now. And then she's gone, I paid £4 for this. And then I realized I'd been given £9 by Uber. So Uber actually took a loss to get that customer seen to quicker. Don't know if you've noticed as well, but now in the weekly summary that they do, they now tell you the percent they've took from the overall price of what the customers have paid. It's pretty transparent, isn't it? Despite what the local firms try and claim. An Uber has a reservation for a particular time, particular place. You go there and the rider doesn't show up, you still get paid. When a local firm has a booking, you go there, they don't show up, you don't get paid. Uber is so far spread that when you get a job out of town, say for example, Liverpool to Manchester, when you land in Manchester, you're able to carry on working there because you will get pings from Manchester. Local firm, if you get a job outside of their normal operating areas, such as Liverpool to Manchester, when you get to Manchester, it's very unlikely you're going to get any work. Now and again, you may get a job back to Liverpool, but it's highly unlikely. If you drive out of their operating area, you are more than likely driving back without a butt in the back seat. I found with local bases, they had two forms of favoritism. The first is where they've prioritized a job for the friend and then they've fixed fared it and then they've sent it out to the drivers, meaning you're picking up someone's friend who's paying a particular amount no matter no matter which way you go. The second is when it's a nice job. Now, I'll give you an example of this. I was well aware that there was an airport run to Manchester at 1 o'clock in the morning from a certain house because I picked up the woman earlier that day. So I get to my car and I goes to the area and I was top of the list at 1:45. So there was no other jobs popped up in that area. I was practically outside the house. I was round the corner because I was waiting for that job. Just as that job was about to become live, a pop-up appeared on the system. Driver restored in front of you for a no-show. There wasn't any no-shows because I'd been sitting there for 15 minutes. So clearly somebody in the office had put that driver in front of me because it was an airport job. At least with Uber, it's an algorithm giving the jobs out. There's no favoritism. Now, I understand that there'll be a lot of drivers out there that will prefer the local bases over working for the app ride shares. This is just my opinions and the reasons and experiences why I moved over to Uber. If you've enjoyed this video, give us a like. Costs you nothing, helps my channel. See you in a bit.